This is Contractor Sense with Ruth King.
Welcome to Contractor Sense. Here you discover ideas, tactics, news, and information that matters to your contracting business and you. I'm your host, Ruth King. This episode is sponsored by Financially Fit Business. Go to www.financiallyfit.business to start your journey to financial freedom in less than 10 minutes a month. Thank you for joining us. Here's how we will help your business and you today. You might recognize my guest, Allan Ferguson. And once he starts talking, you'll recognize that he's from Australia. Allan has years of experience in Australia and in the U.S. helping contractors increase revenues and profits. He was the first contractor to introduce flat rate into Australia, where time and material billing was a status quo like it was here in the U.S. many, many years ago. I am so looking forward to picking Allan's brain about what he has discovered over the years, the ideas that he has used himself to increase revenues and profits, and things that he shares with his customers right now. Allan, welcome to Contractor Sense.
Well, thank you, Ruth. It's an absolute honor to be here with you, and I hope if you can get past my silly accent, well, it's not silly for me.
I told everybody in the intro you were from Australia, so they're expecting it.
And you know, the funny thing is, I don't see anything wrong. Everyone says you talk funny, but no, that's not quite how it is. It's I find it the opposite. But no, look, thanks for having me, Ruth. We've done a couple of podcasts together, and as far as I'm concerned, anything value I can give or anything at all that helps contractors to move from where they are to where they want to be, become more profitable, I'm up for it.
Yeah, you and me both have. That's bad English. You and I both have the same passion for helping contractors grow profitably, build wealth, achieve their goals, live the life of their dreams, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let's start back in the beginning. In Australia.
Yep.
You were the first one to introduce flat rate. Not fun, I would imagine.
No, well, look, I'll correct you. I wasn't the first. There was a company that was playing around with it. I think I was his first client. I don't know of any more than a couple of, maybe 2 or 3 contractors. And it was through my bad experience with this company that I said, I'm going to do it myself. I mean, but it wasn't. It was a massive undertaking.
I know.
We built it from scratch through James Leichter's Flat Rate Plus, and we created the whole thing. It was massive, but we did it, and then we on-sold it. We probably had maybe up to 1,000 users at one point, it was very sick. Most companies that went from charging hourly to flat rate pricing really discovered the profits within their business.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of contractors in the United States who are not on flat rate residentially. I'm not talking about commercially, but I am talking about plumbing, HVAC, electrical, pool and spa, generator. What am I missing? But anyway, anybody who's, a home services business who's not on flat rate, what would you tell them?
What are you thinking? What's going on? Look, it's I think it's hard. No, in Australia, we're I think we're 15, 20 years behind, but it's a big change, and it's not an easy thing. And a lot of the time and material contractors that are still charging time and material, and I believe time and material has a place in certain types of work, but there's a fear that they charge so much, and there's this fear of transitioning across. I'm saying, look, you need to look at every aspect of your business, and if it can increase profitability, keep your customers happier, it's fair pricing. The word flat rate pricing, there's so many better terms for it. Honest pricing, fair pricing, standardized pricing, but I don't know, just do it.
Did you remember when Hurricane Andrew went through Miami probably 15 or 20 years ago? Did you hear about that back in Australia?
Sure did. Hit New York as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, anyway, in Miami, the only contractors that they didn't accuse of gouging on price were those who were charging flat rate, because they could show it was the flat rate price before, flat rate price after Andrew. And I find that really interesting. And I think a lot of contractors, at least in Florida after that point, went to flat rate because they could say, this is what the price is now. This is what the price is after a natural disaster. And they could prove that they weren't gouging.
I love it.
Yeah.
How about we just call it fair pricing?
Okay. You can call it whatever way you want. Whatever you want to call it is fine with me.
It's all it is it's a way of presenting your price where every job is like I think one of the areas that contractors fear not going into using a fixed pricing, honest pricing, is that job that goes long. Okay. But what about the jobs that you get done in less time? You're very profitable. So we all fear that, I've had experiences with jobs that, it should have been two hours work. And then, but for what reasons unknown, it blows out. But I think the fear of that might be another reason why contractors fear doing it. But I'm pretty sure you would know, you would have the numbers on this, Ruth, that probably about 50% of all residential contractors in the US use fair pricing.
At this point, yes, thankfully.
Yeah. But I tell you what else is making it easier is some of these cool software products out there, dispatching products that have it all incorporated. They do all the heavy lifting. All you need to do is work out what you need to charge based on your current overhead and what you want to make out of your business. It's really that easy, right?
It absolutely is. And if you've listened, if anybody out there has listened, it's like, what net profit per hour do you want? What overhead cost per hour you want? That's your gross profit per hour. Then you add your highest guy's hourly rate. And that's if you could actually bill out 100% of his time. And since you can't, you divide by the amount of time that he bills. So if it's 75%, you divide whatever that number is by 75%. If it's 50%, you divide by 50%. It's that easy. It's really, really easy. It's not hard. You and I both know that.
It is that easy. And this is something I'm going through with my, the clients that we're currently coaching, is a couple of things you really need to know when you come up with, and this, it's crazy. It's crazy, Ruth. This is, I've spent quite a fair bit of time this week helping contractors you need to know what your efficiencies are. If you don't know your efficiencies, you can't come up with the correct rate. You do need to know your overhead. There's a lot of things you need to know that you've just got to get in there and do it. And, but yeah, it's funny how this week of all weeks, we're talking about fixed pricing, honest pricing, and how to come up with that calculation. If you've got someone that's got the experience, I have, you have, and there's many others, it doesn't need to be difficult, right?
No, it's actually pretty easy. It's addition and division, not exactly difficult. So before we take a break, if somebody wants to talk to you about consulting or working with you, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, our business is servicesuccessacademy.com, and I'll grab you some further details, but that's probably the best way. My direct email is allan@serviceprofessional.com.au, and I'll give you all those details plus the company phone number.
Yeah, we'll do that, and we'll put that in the show notes. How's that?
Fantastic.
All right. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense.
Many times, relatives are recruited to do your company's books without knowing how to do the books. Or you hire a bookkeeper who really doesn't know bookkeeping. If this is you, then your books are probably inaccurate. You probably pay more taxes than you should, and you rarely look at a P&L and balance sheet because you know they are wrong. What do? Have your bookkeeper enroll in Ruth King's Contractor Bookkeeping Basics. After completing this online course, your bookkeeper will know bookkeeping. You'll get accurate financial statements that help you make good business financial decisions. To enroll, click on the link in the show notes or call us at 770-729-0258. Enroll today.
We're back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. I'm here with Allan Ferguson, who's probably made as many mistakes as I have over the years, and I've got the gray hair to show it. But, you've made the mistakes in your business. You're coaching other people. You know, as you and I both know, we can lead a horse to water, but we can't make him drink. I mean, we can tell them, "Hey, listen, we've made these mistakes. Contractors that we've worked with made these mistakes. We're trying to keep you from making the same mistakes that we did." What do you think? Is there a fear of, not doing something that's going to save them heartache, or, why do they not do it from your perspective?
Well, I think you said the word fear, and I think we all have fears that stop us from doing things. And even when we see someone else doing it, we still think, nah, I'm not that person. I can't do it that way. So some of the with I learned this from transitioning from charging hourly to fixed price, fair price, whatever you want to call it. And you actually have to move from you're changing the entire model of your business. And most companies, and you might want to correct me on this, most companies end up charging more because they have a realization that they weren't friggin' charging enough all along. So they're charging more, and then their staff go, we can't charge that. So I think one of the biggest problems that I encountered was getting our team on board with, this is how much we need to charge, but you only pay me so much, but you're charging that. So I think that's one of the areas that I had probably one of the biggest challenges with is getting the culture and getting everyone on board with what we really do need to charge to be profitable as a company.
Yeah, everybody, not everybody. Most of the people, most of the owners have the hardest problem with their techs, with their office personnel, not with the customer. Customers love it.
Yeah.
It's just we can't charge that. And I think you probably solved it a different way, but let me tell you how I solved it, and then you can tell everybody how you solved it. How's that?
Sure.
All right. So what I used to do is I'd take an easel with one of those big Post-it, things that you write on and you take off and you put it up against the wall, like the big easel pads. And I'd say, okay, tell me how much you pay for insurance, and tell me how much you pay for your rent, and tell me how much you pay for your car payment. And I would put it personally for a tech. And we'd add it up and we'd get this overhead number for them. I said, okay, now how much do you think the company pays for the utility bill? And we'd kind of match it along the side, and they realize, yeah, they may be getting $20, $30, $40, $50 an hour, but this is all the overhead costs that the company has to pay to support them. And all of a sudden, them making $30 an hour and then the flat rate price being $250 or $300, they get it. They absolutely get it. So how did you solve it?
Well, I hope you don't mind me piggybacking off that. We did what was, I learned this many years ago before we even introduced fixed pricing and start. When we brought fixed pricing to Australia, we were in the training business because we had to train contractors how to charge and how to get their technicians on board. So we'd do what was called the one truck exercise, and it's very similar to the. We didn't do it on I was never much good on a whiteboard, but it's just a thing that I wasn't great at. So we would take them through a one truck exercise. Now they had to picture in their mind, you're about to go out and work for yourself. So what we want to do is sit down with you and get you and go through some costs that you're going to incur, so we can come up with your correct charge rate. And you can decide how many hours you want to work, how many weeks you want to work. Do you want to work 50 weeks a year or 52? Don't recommend it. Or 48. In Australia, it's a bit more relaxed. We've got, a lot more holidays. You decide what you want to pay yourself, how much you want to work. You need to work out how many hours you can bill out a day. We've got to put all these costs in that are based on your scenario. But if I see that you're not allowing enough for your vehicles, your insurance and everything, I'm going to say so. So we've got everyone that worked for us, plus we trained other companies to come up with a rate that they need to charge. Now, this is the interesting part. A lot of contractors think, because, I'm a small shop, I don't need to charge as much as a big shop. We actually proved that wrong.
Oh my gosh.
We actually proved that wrong.
Yeah.
The bigger companies have they have a lot more of fit. They have a better way of you know, getting it all into perspective with the number of technicians. So I had rates that varied from, on the lowest end, guys that technicians that they really only valued their own. They didn't value paying themselves much more than about $60,000 to $80,000 a year. Then I had technicians that, no, I want to earn, buddy, $250,000 a year. That's fine. It's your business. You decide what you want to pay yourself. You decide how much profit you want to make. I had rates varying from, the lowest of lows was $200 to $250 an hour. The guys that didn't really value and they didn't have their costs right, to I had many technicians that were, their billable rate as a one truck operation was way more than we charge. I said, well, so, you know, and then they saw, okay, well, we've got a better understanding now of why you charge what you charge. And we also did a pie chart that showed them where every dollar goes, you know, X amount for marketing, X amount for direct labor, indirect. And we did lots of exercises on showing them how to come up with the correct rate. Plus, we also shared with them how to get the correct gross margin on parts. So it was just training, and that's how we did it.
And you opened their eyes. That's the key part, because then they went, oh my gosh, I really don't want to be out on my own. They're doing a whole lot, you know, for me, that I didn't even realize was an expense. Is usually what happens.
Yeah, so I think, I don't know if that's the biggest challenge that companies got, but it's got to be up there, right? It's you're getting the culture right, making sure. Look, you know, I've had some really good conversations lately with Billy Stevens, and we talk about the culture and how much our staff should be earning and all that. But that all comes at a cost. But efficiencies, and you know, we've discussed this, getting your efficiencies in tune is probably one of the most profitable things a company can do.
Absolutely. And before I let you go, final thoughts for our audience.
Final thoughts. Okay. Ruth, you know that I've been, you know, we've known each other for a long time through some of the best practice groups on the planet. I highly respect you in what you're about as far as dealing with staff, some of the horror stories. I think you know, your message needs to be out there to more people. Working out, you know, getting your finances in order, knowing how to read a balance sheet, knowing how to read a P&L, knowing how to get everything into perspective. I think, you know, because it's your podcast and I want to promote you as well, I think that would be the most important thing, I believe, in, and that's why I want to see more contractors connected with you in regards to your financial management. I just think it's amazing, as you are.
Thank you. And give everybody your website again, please.
Yeah, it's servicesuccessacademy.com.
Very good. Allan, thanks
Really
so much for being.
simple.
Yeah, it really is. servicesuccessacademy.com. Thanks for being with me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. It's always fun to catch up with you, Ruth.
And thanks to all of you for joining us. Choose one thing that you discovered and implement it in your business. These ideas, tactics, and strategies help you make more money, have more free time, and give back. If you like today's program, spread the word. Please review this podcast on any device you're listening to it on. Help a fellow contractor make more money too. For comments or questions, call me at 770-729-0258 or email Ruth King at hvacchannel.tv. Thanks for listening. Have a great and profitable day.